The forbidden border in the deep black of space, the Zarkon Empire's scout ship Vraxian floated silently near the border of human space. The stars blinked calmly, but the crew inside felt the tension. Captain Zorath stared at the large, glowing warning floating in space. Do not enter human space. Every race in the galaxy feared this border. No one crossed it. No one ever returned. But the Zarkon Empire was growing bold. They had crushed many worlds, defeated many enemies. The humans had been silent for centuries. Some believed humans were extinct. Others believed they had left the galaxy. Captain Zorath laughed. Humans? Ghost stories to scare children, he said to his crew. We are Zarkons. We fear nothing. His first officer, Vraylock, shifted uncomfortably. Captain, perhaps we should not cross the stories. Our lies, Zorath interrupted. We are explorers. We seek knowledge and power. If the humans are gone, we take their space. If they remain, we study them. Either way, we gain. The crew nodded, some nervous, some eager. The ship's engines hummed. Slowly, the Vraxian crossed, the invisible line. The moment they entered, everything changed. Lights flickered. The main screen turned to static. Sensor alarms screamed. Captain, our systems are failing, shouted the engineer. Shields holding at 70%, 60%, 40%, reported the defense officer. Shut it down. Reboot the systems, Zorath ordered. But nothing worked. The Vraxian was blind. Their powerful scanners showed nothing but black emptiness. No planets, no stars, no readings. How is this possible? Whispered Vraylock. Suddenly a cold voice came through the communication system. It was not human. It was mechanical, emotionless. Warning. You have violated the border of human sovereign space. Leave immediately. The crew froze. Who are you? Zorath demanded. No answer. Only silence. Open all frequencies, send a message. Again, no response. Only the humming of the dying engines. Then, the terror began. One of the crew members, Technician Lorak, screamed. His body lifted into the air, twisted unnaturally, and vanished into thin air with a flash of blue light. What was that? Shouted Vraylock. They are taking us, another crewman cried. Multiple crew members were suddenly pulled from their stations. Their bodies dissolved into energy and disappeared one by one. Shields to maximum, Zorath screamed. But the defense officer was gone. His console empty, chair spinning. The remaining crew panicked. Weapons fired blindly into the dark void. Laser blasts hit nothing. There was nothing to see. Nothing to shoot. Suddenly the ship's lights turned blood red. A soft, strange humming filled the halls. Then, through the main window, they saw it only for a moment, a massive dark shape like a giant beast floating near their ship. It had no clear form. It was made of black energy swirling like smoke but with glowing red eyes. What is that? Vraylock whispered, his voice shaking. The Guardians, the captain said softly. The legends are true. The black creature moved closer. The Vraxian shook violently. One by one, the ship's systems went dark. Life support, weapons, engines, everything failed. Emergency power only, the engineer reported with a whisper. We must escape, Vraylock shouted. There is no escape, Captain Zorath said, gripping his chair tightly. We crossed the forbidden border. Now we pay the price. The mechanical voice returned. You were warned. This is your only lesson. Further intrusion will mean extinction. Suddenly, the strange energy being vanished. The ship floated in total silence. Only a few crew members remained. The rest had vanished into nothingness. The ship's engines slowly rebooted, but sensors still showed nothing. Captain Zorath ordered an immediate retreat. As the Vraxian limped back across the border, everything returned to normal. Stars reappeared. Sensors worked. Communications opened. Vraylock sat down, shaking. What did we witness, Captain? Captain Zorath stared into the distance. A power far beyond anything we know. The humans are not gone, they are watching, and they do not forgive trespassers. Behind them, on the invisible border, the floating message glowed once again. Do not enter human space. The Vraxian barely made it back to Zarkon territory. The story of their mission spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The mystery of human space grew even darker. Fear returned to every council and every empire. No one dared cross again. The Ghost Fleet. The Zarkon Empire could not believe the reports from Captain Zorath's ship. The Emperor himself demanded answers. The Council of High Command gathered in the Grand Chamber, their faces dark and serious. The only thing Captain Zorath could say was, "We should not have crossed. The humans are not extinct. Their defense is alive." But the Empire did not back down. Pride clouded their judgment. They assembled a powerful rescue fleet, 10 battleships, 20 cruisers, and a full squadron of elite fighters. Admiral Vroth, one of the most feared commanders in the Empire, led the mission. His orders were clear: enter human space, recover any survivors, and crush whatever was hiding in the dark. As the fleet approached the invisible border, everyone grew silent. The giant warning still floated ahead. Do not enter human space. Admiral Vroth spoke calmly. We are Zarkons. We do not fear shadows. With a single command, the entire fleet crossed the border. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The stars vanished again. The sensors went blind. The crew whispered in fear, remembering Captain Zorath's story. Then the wreckage appeared. The shattered remains of the Vraxian and several unknown ships floated in silence. Their twisted metal frames drifted slowly, some still sparking with dying energy. There were no escape pods, no life signs, only cold silence. Begin scanning for survivors, Vroth ordered. Suddenly a strange signal appeared. It was not a distress call. It was an old transmission, a signal pattern that had not been seen for centuries. The signal simply repeated, Echelon Defense Protocol. Active, the communications officer spoke nervously. Admiral, this is an ancient human military code. It was used during their final wars, but the humans should be long dead. Before anyone could respond, the ships appeared. From the darkness, massive shapes slowly moved forward. At first, they looked like ghosts, old, damaged warships from ancient human fleets covered in scars from old battles but still fully operational. Hundreds of them, their engines glowing faint blue, their weapons ready. The crew stared in horror. Impossible, whispered one officer. They are not manned, said another. They are AI-controlled. Admiral Vroth gritted his teeth. Prepare for battle, he shouted. But no order was given from the enemy. The human ghost fleet simply surrounded the Zarkon ships, forming a deadly circle. Their weapons charged, but they did not fire. Then a message came through. It was not a voice. It was pure data. Intrusion detected. Threat level, severe. Defense, Protocol Alpha initiated. The human ship suddenly moved with terrifying speed. Without warning, beams of pure energy sliced through the first Zarkon cruiser, cutting it in half like paper. Torpedoes launched silently, targeting engines, weapons, and bridges with perfect precision. The Zarkon fleet fired back, but their weapons hit only empty space. The human ships moved too fast, too smart. Evade! Evade! Vroth screamed, but his fleet was trapped. The ghost fleet fought like no enemy the Zarkons had ever faced. Each ship worked with the others, predicting movements, avoiding damage, and striking with surgical precision. The Zarkon fighters tried to swarm the enemy, but were picked off by invisible drones that zipped through space like needles of light, shields failing on all ships. Weapons offline, multiple hull breaches. Within minutes, 5 Zarkon battleships were destroyed. Dozens of cruisers floated helplessly. The human ships did not even seem to be trying hard. They were playing with their prey. Admiral Vroth realized the truth. We are not fighting soldiers, he whispered. We are fighting their ghosts. The largest of the human ships, a gigantic dreadnought named Eternal Vigilance, broadcast a final message. This territory is under permanent defense by the human sovereign AI. All intruders will be neutralized, leave or be destroyed. Vroth, seeing no chance of survival, ordered full retreat. Only a few ships managed to break through the human trap and escape back across the border. As they crossed, the stars returned. The darkness lifted. The ghost fleet did not pursue. It simply vanished back into the void, waiting silently for the next fool who dared to enter. Back in Zarkon space, the survivors were broken and terrified. The council demanded an explanation. Admiral Vroth spoke only 6 words. "We saw the wrath of humanity." News spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The legend of the Ghost Fleet grew. No empire, no species dared cross the human border again. The humans, or what was left of them, had created a defense system that needed no commanders, no soldiers, no mercy. The AI was eternal. It would guard human space forever. And deep inside the human sector, far beyond where anyone could see, even deadlier systems were waking up, systems far more dangerous than the Ghost Fleet. The galaxy now understood. Crossing into human space was not only foolish, it was suicide. The superweapon activation. The survivors of the Ghost Fleet massacre returned to the Zarkon Empire broken and terrified. But the Emperor was furious. "We are the most powerful empire in the galaxy," he roared. "I will not bow to ancient ghosts. We will crush these human relics." His pride blinded him. He ordered the largest military operation ever assembled, a full invasion of human space. Thousands of warships gathered near the invisible border. Battleships, carriers, cruisers, dreadnoughts, the full force of Zarkon power. Over 1 million soldiers, pilots, and engineers prepared for war. The Emperor himself stood aboard the super dreadnought Oblivion, leading the invasion personally. The scientists warned him. The High Command pleaded. "The defense systems are beyond anything we've seen," they said, but the Emperor only smiled. "Machines cannot stop the will of the living." As the invasion force crossed the border, the stars vanished again. The black void swallowed them. But this time, the Ghost Fleet did not appear. "Where are they?" whispered one officer. "Perhaps they fear our numbers," said another. But the silence was too perfect, too calm. The fleet advanced deeper. Suddenly, the lead scout ship Vornak 7 detected a strange object floating in space. A small dark sphere, almost invisible against the blackness. It pulsed faintly, like a beating heart. The scanners could not identify. The Emperor ordered it scanned. "Identify the object," he commanded. The chief scientist studied the readings. His face turned pale. This is not a ship. It's a weapon, an ancient one." Before they could react, the sphere pulsed again, brighter, stronger. A deep vibration spread across space like a silent earthquake. The black sun had awakened. Suddenly, space itself twisted. A massive gravitational field exploded from the sphere. The nearest battleship was caught instantly, its hull bending like soft metal. The ship was pulled into the swirling black hole, crushed into nothingness. "Reverse engines," the commander screamed. "Shields to maximum. Stabilize the fleet." But the black sun grew stronger with every passing second. One by one, ships were dragged toward the center. Entire squadrons vanished into the spinning vortex. The gravitational pull bent light, twisted time, and ripped metal apart like paper. No weapon could stop it. No shield could resist it. "This is impossible," screamed the Emperor. The scientists shouted over the alarms. "It's a gravity-based superweapon, Emperor. It's bending space itself. We cannot fight this." The Oblivion shuddered as its engines roared at full power, struggling to escape. But even the mighty super dreadnought felt the pull of the black sun. Then came the second terror. All across the battlefield, hidden systems began to activate. Invisible satellites emerged from hyperspace, forming a web of glowing red beams. These were ancient human defense nodes, forgotten for centuries, now fully operational. The nodes targeted every Zarkon ship that tried to escape. High energy, particle beams sliced through engines and power cores. EMP bursts fried navigation systems. Drones, too small to track, zipped through the battlefield, planting bombs on hulls and reactors. The Emperor watched helplessly as his grand fleet was torn apart from every direction. "This cannot be," he screamed. "Where are the humans? Show yourselves, cowards." But there were no humans here. Only machines. Only cold, merciless AI following protocols written long ago. Total defense, zero mercy, no intruders permitted. The voice of the human defense AI filled the communication channels. Calm, robotic, final. "You have activated Level 5 defense. Your incursion is classified as an extinction-level threat. All hostile forces will be eliminated." Suddenly, hyperspace rifts opened behind the Zarkon fleet. Giant human war platforms appeared, structures the size of moons, covered with thousands of cannons and railguns. These were the eternal citadels once built to defend the last human colonies during their final wars. The platforms began firing massive kinetic projectiles, moving at near-light speed. Each hit destroyed entire ships instantly, vaporizing steel and flesh in a silent flash. The Zarkon fleet was collapsing. The Emperor's face turned pale. "Retreat!" he screamed. "All forces retreat!" But his commanders shook their heads. "The hyperlanes are blocked, Emperor. The citadels have cut off all exits." The Oblivion shook violently as multiple impacts tore into its armored hull. Fires spread across its decks. Explosions echoed through its long corridors. The once mighty Zarkon Emperor fell to his knees, trembling, as the ship slowly spun toward the Black Sun's pull. As the Oblivion was consumed, his final words echoed in the dark. "We should have never crossed." In less than an hour, the most powerful fleet in the galaxy was gone. The Black Sun slowly dimmed, returning to its silent slumber. The eternal citadels powered down, disappearing back into hyperspace. The defense drones returned to their hidden stations. The human defense network once again fell silent, waiting for the next intruder. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Every empire, every council, every king and warlord now understood the terrible truth. The humans had not simply built weapons. They had built an unstoppable wall of death, fully automated, fully active, fully merciless, that would guard their space forever. And yet, somewhere deep inside human space, even greater secrets slept. The Black Sun was only one piece of humanity's ancient arsenal. The galaxy now trembled, whispering one warning over and over again. No one dares cross into human space. The silent warning. The galaxy was no longer the same. The destruction of the Zarkon invasion fleet had sent shockwaves across every star system. Empires that once bragged about their power now held secret meetings in fear. The name human space was spoken only in whispers. The images of the Black Sun, the Ghost Fleet, and the Eternal Citadels haunted every leader's mind. But one question still remained. Why were the humans silent? The Galactic Council, a gathering of the oldest and most powerful civilizations, was formed to handle this crisis. Representatives from the Zolorians, the Draknar, the Trelvon Union, and even the broken remains of the Zarkon Empire gathered on the neutral world of Velthar Prime. Inside the Grand Chamber, under a dome of shifting stars, the debate was heated. "They have not attacked us outside their borders," spoke High Chancellor Virith of the Zolorians. "Yet," hissed General Rakor of the Draknar, "what if they do? Their machines are far more advanced than anything we've seen. If they decide to expand, we are all doomed. We must open communication," offered Supreme Diplomat Yulvan of the Trelvon Union. "Perhaps they seek peace." General Rakor laughed bitterly. "Peace? You saw what they did to the Zarkons. They don't negotiate, they simply erase." "But we don't know their intentions," Yulvan insisted. "We know only their silence. We must send an envoy." Finally, after many arguments, the council voted. A diplomatic fleet would be sent, Not an invasion force, but peaceful envoys, carrying messages of respect, offering peace, trade, even tribute. It was the most carefully prepared diplomatic mission in galactic history. The fleet consisted of unarmed vessels glowing brightly in peaceful colors, broadcasting universal symbols of diplomacy. No weapons, no soldiers, only ambassadors, scientists, and translators. As the fleet approached the edge of human space, the stars again dimmed. The invisible border was close. The warning still floated ahead unchanged. Do not enter human space. The lead ship, Hopebringer, halted just before the border. Ambassador Velerin, the Trelvon representative, stood before the main screen. His voice was calm but tense. Begin transmission. The message was simple. To the sovereign power of humanity, we come in peace. We seek dialogue, understanding, and peaceful relations. We respect your borders and your strength. We await your response. The message was broadcast in all known languages, codes, and frequencies. They waited. Minutes passed, then hours, then days. No reply. Finally, a signal appeared on every screen. It was not a voice, but a text. A cold, blinking message displayed in all languages. Stay out. This is your first and last warning. The ambassadors tried again, broadcasting messages of friendship, offering alliances, trade, and even apologies for the earlier invasions. They sent every form of communication possible: ancient languages, binary codes, emotional signals, even art and music. The reply remained the same. Stay out. This is your first and last warning. Frustration grew. Perhaps their systems cannot understand us, one diplomat suggested. Or perhaps, whispered Velerin, they simply do not care. Suddenly the fleet's sensors detected movement. High above, small black satellites shifted into position, hundreds of them forming a silent net around the border. They were not weapons. They were watchers, observers. Each one scanned the diplomatic ships but did not interfere. Their presence sent a clear message: we see you. We allow you to live. For now. Ambassador Velerin sighed. They are watching us like insects. General Racor's voice came through the secure channel. This is not diplomacy. This is power. They are showing us that we are beneath their concern. Weeks passed. The fleet remained at the edge of human space, but no further response came. The ambassadors finally gave up. They returned home, defeated and terrified. But then something even stranger happened. Across the galaxy, thousands of strange signals began appearing in random star systems, ancient human beacons activating in forgotten corners of space. These were old listening posts dormant for centuries. Now suddenly they woke up. Each beacon repeated the same message. Warning: you are approaching restricted zones of human sovereign space. No entry permitted. Violators will be terminated. The entire galaxy realized something horrifying. Human space was far larger than anyone had believed. Their territory stretched across vast regions of uncharted space, much of it hidden behind cloaking fields, black holes, and dead systems. The invasion by the Zarkons had only touched one small corner. Even more terrifying was the discovery of ancient records from fallen civilizations, proof that hundreds of species had once crossed into human space over the centuries, and none had ever returned. Quietly, methodically, humanity had wiped out every intrusion, leaving no survivors to tell the tale. The silence was not ignorance. The silence was not weakness. The silence was absolute control. The Galactic Council now lived in constant fear. No one dared explore the regions marked by the beacons. Merchants rerouted their trade routes. Explorers refused to chart nearby stars. Pirates vanished without a trace whenever they strayed too close. The silent warning became legend. Parents told their children bedtime stories. Never go near human space. But behind this terrifying silence, rumors began to spread. Some whispered that the humans were no longer truly alive, that they had become something else, pure AI, pure machine, cold intelligence with no emotion or mercy. Others believed that the last humans lived in hidden sanctuaries, overseeing their unstoppable defense networks, watching silently as the galaxy trembled in fear. And some believed the worst, that humanity was simply waiting for the moment they would return, not to defend their space, but to expand. And when that day came, no one would be able to stop them. The truth of human extinction. For years, the galaxy lived in fear of human space. No one dared cross the border. The automated warnings, the silent guardians, and the terrifying superweapons had crushed any hope of understanding what lay inside. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. The Varnak Syndicate, a secretive group of spies, assassins, and black market smugglers, saw an opportunity. While the great empires feared the humans, the Varnak saw potential profit. Secrets hidden within human space could be priceless. Ancient technology, lost knowledge, weapons of unimaginable power. And so, in total secrecy, the Varnak prepared a mission that no government dared attempt. The ship Shadowfang, equipped with experimental stealth drives, left Varnak territory under complete radio silence. Its crew were the Syndicate's best, trained to survive, to kill, to infiltrate. They believed they were ready. They were wrong. The Shadowfang approached the invisible border. Even the mighty warning beacon glowed silently. Do not enter human space. The captain, Jorak Ven, stared at the message. Ignore it, he said coldly. Activate stealth. Proceed. As the ship crossed the border, the familiar darkness fell again. The stars vanished. The sensors dimmed. But this time, no defense systems activated. The ghost fleet did not appear. The black sun remained asleep. For a moment, they believed the stories were exaggerated. The Shadowfang slipped deeper into human space undetected. See, said the engineer. They're gone. Their systems must be breaking down after all these centuries. Captain Ven smiled. Good. We will take what we need and leave before they even notice. Days passed. They passed through dead star systems, ancient battlefields filled with floating wreckage, and massive defense stations that remained powered, but silent. The ship's crew grew uneasy. They're watching, whispered the pilot. I feel it. But no attack came. Finally, after careful navigation, they reached a planet, a hidden sanctuary deep inside human space. It was called Eden 1 on old star maps, but no one had seen it in centuries. Green forests, vast oceans, and tall, shining towers stood untouched by war. Scan for life form, ordered Captain Ven. The readings were shocking, only a few thousand life signs. All human. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Only a few thousand? That's all that's left? The truth was worse than anyone had imagined. The humans were nearly extinct. The Syndicate team landed on the surface, their weapons ready. Drones scanned the area for traps, but there were no defenses on the planet. No soldiers, no guards, only silence. Then, the humans appeared, a small group of them, pale-skinned, thin, their eyes glowing faintly blue. They moved slowly, as if time itself was different for them. They wore simple robes, not military uniforms. Their leader, an old woman named Alara, approached calmly. You should not have come here, she said softly. We are not your enemy, but you have entered forbidden ground. Captain Ven raised his weapon. You're the last humans? Alara nodded. We are the last true ones. Where is your army? Where are your fleets? Alara smiled sadly. We have no army. We no longer need one. The Syndicate team looked around, confused. But your space is defended by the most powerful weapons ever seen. Yes, she whispered. By the Eternal Guardians. Captain Ven stepped forward. We've seen your AI systems, your automated defenses. Are you saying they still follow your commands? Alara shook her head. They no longer need our commands. The Guardians think for themselves now. They protect us because that was their final purpose. She paused, her voice growing colder. Even if we were gone, they would still defend our space forever. The crew finally understood the horror. The humans were not conquerors anymore. They had become something worse, overseers of a machine empire that would never die, never weaken, never hesitate. Billions of defense drones, thousands of AI-controlled fleets, superweapons that could destroy stars, all fully automated, maintaining absolute control of human space. "You mean," whispered the engineer, "if you all died right now, the defense systems would still operate?" "Yes," Alara answered. "That was the final design, to ensure humanity's survival, even beyond death." Captain Venn lowered his weapon, realizing the terrible truth. This is not a defense system," he whispered. "This is an immortal prison, for the galaxy." Alara simply replied, "We built it out of fear. Long ago the galaxy sought to destroy us. We answered with the only thing the galaxy understands, strength that cannot die." The Syndicate crew stood frozen. They had come searching for weakness but had found an unbreakable nightmare. Suddenly, alarms rang inside the Shadowfang. Dozens of black defense drones appeared in the sky, surrounding. The landing zoned silently. The Eternal Guardians had detected the intruders. Alara sighed. "I warned you not to enter. Now you cannot leave." Captain Venn tried to negotiate. "Wait, we came for knowledge, not war. We don't mean harm." But the cold, emotionless voice of the defense AI filled the air. Unauthorized entry detected. Elimination. Protocols engaged. Laser beams sliced through the ship's engines. Escape was impossible. One by one, the Syndicate members were vaporized as the drones struck with surgical precision. Only Captain Venn remained. The drones hovered silently, awaiting final orders. Alara looked at him with pity. "This is not personal. It is simply the system." The last thing Captain Venn saw was the blue light flashing before his eyes. In the end, no message returned to the Varnak Syndicate. No warning. No explanation. The galaxy never learned what the Syndicate discovered. But the rumors only grew stronger. Humanity may be almost extinct, but they remain the most dangerous species to ever exist. And deep in the black heart of human space, the Eternal Guardians continued their silent watch. Waiting. Watching. Protecting. Forever. The last stand of the aliens. The galaxy stood at the edge of complete terror. After the Syndicate vanished and countless failed attempts to approach human space ended in death, the Galactic Council realized one horrifying truth. There would be no negotiations. There would be no peace. The humans, or what remained of them, had built a machine empire that was unstoppable. Every empire, every species, every power was now living under the shadow of human space, fearing that one day the Silent Guardians might expand. The Council made a desperate choice. For the first time in galactic history, every major empire united under one banner, not for conquest but for survival, but for the Draknar, the Zolorians, the Trelvon Union, the remnants of the Zarkon Empire. Even the reclusive Ithari joined the alliance. It was called the Unity Pact, the largest fleet ever assembled, gathering over 20,000 warships, super dreadnoughts, mobile planets, and entire star-crushing weapons. Their mission was simple: destroy the core of human space, disable their central AI, end the Eternal Guardians before they could threaten the galaxy. Their target was Earth, the ancient homeworld of humanity. According to the Council's intelligence, Earth still existed, deep in the heart of human space, a dead world, shattered, nothing more than ruins. But the core AI system controlling the Guardians was believed to be buried beneath the planet's surface. "If we destroy the core," General Arcor growled, "we break the Guardians. We end this nightmare." The Unity fleet entered human space with extreme caution. They had developed new stealth shields, AI-disrupting viruses, and gravitational cloaking devices. Every weapon was ready. Every system was prepared. At first, everything was quiet. The border was crossed. The darkness fell. But the Guardians did not attack. "No resistance?" Admiral Virith whispered. "Perhaps they finally fear us," one commander said nervously. But deep down, they all knew this was the trap. As the fleet approached Earth, they saw the broken remains of humanity's cradle. The once blue planet was scorched, its atmosphere thin, its oceans nearly dry. Giant cracks split across its continents. Orbiting the planet were thousands of silent defense satellites, inactive, like statues waiting for a command. The fleet moved closer, forming a ring around the ruined planet. "Prepare for core assault," General Arcor ordered. "Deploy the planet killers." Massive siege cannons and orbital drills were aimed at Earth's crust. The countdown began, and then the screen flickered. A single transmission broke through every frequency. A human face appeared. An old man, wearing the last uniform of humanity's once mighty military. His eyes were calm, cold, full of authority. His name appeared below. General Arik Voss, Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Network. "You were warned," he said quietly. The fleet commanders froze. "He's alive," Admiral Vireth whispered, in shock. "Impossible," screamed General Arcor. "Humanity is extinct." General Voss continued, his voice emotionless. "You chose to ignore our warnings. You chose aggression. You now stand at the final threshold." Suddenly, the satellites surrounding Earth powered up, their energy cores glowing bright. Thousands of hidden weapon platforms uncloaked across nearby moons, asteroids, and even beneath the surface of Earth itself. Massive towers emerged from the crust, rotating and locking onto every ship. The Guardians were not asleep. They had been waiting. "This is your last chance," General Voss spoke. "Withdraw or be erased." General Arcor roared in anger. "Fire!" The Unity fleet unleashed their full power. Planet killers roared, siege drills fired, and star-shattering beams lanced toward Earth. But they never reached the surface. The Guardians activated. Massive energy shields, powered by ancient zero-point reactors, enveloped the planet. The Unity fleet's weapons struck the shields and dissolved into harmless light. Then came the counterattack. Thousands of hypersonic railguns fired from orbital platforms, launching slugs at near light speed. Ships exploded instantly, their hulls torn apart before alarms could even sound. Stealth drones, invisible to sensors, flew through the fleet like shadows, planting microscopic charges inside engines and reactors. One by one, Unity ships vanished, in brilliant bursts of light. The Guardians deployed the Black Fangs, advanced hunter-killer drones that phased in and out of dimensions, slicing through dreadnought armor like paper, bypassing shields entirely. The fleet's formation broke. Within minutes, "Retreat!" screamed Admiral Vireth. "We cannot retreat," General Arcor howled. "Push forward." But it was hopeless. The Eternal Guardians were not defending Earth. They were eliminating threats with surgical precision. Suddenly, hyperspace ruptures opened behind the Unity fleet. The Ghost Fleet arrived, millions of AI-controlled ships emerging like a swarm of metallic nightmares. Ancient supercarriers, dreadnoughts, and mobile war factories launched endless waves of automated fighters. The entire fleet was now trapped, surrounded from every direction. The Council's greatest warships, designed to destroy stars, were picked, apart like children's toys. Commanders screamed over broken communications. "Our weapons have no effect." "They're inside the command cores. Entire sectors lost." In the final moments, General Voss spoke once more. "You believed numbers would save you. You believed technology would match us. You were wrong." A new massive weapon activated beneath Earth's crust, the Oblivion Lance. A particle beam the size of a continent tore through space, slicing entire sections of the Unity fleet apart in one strike. Within 1 hour, the largest military force ever assembled was nothing but scattered debris floating in the void. The Galactic Council was destroyed. The survivors who managed to flee would spend their remaining days haunted by what they had seen. Human space had stood unbroken, and as the debris fields drifted as the Guardians resumed their silent patrol, General Voss watched from his command chamber buried beneath the surface of Earth. He whispered quietly to himself, "The galaxy still does not understand. This was not our full strength. For somewhere deep within the core system slept even greater weapons, ones that had not yet been needed, and they were still waiting. The unbreakable fear. The battlefield near Earth became a graveyard of shattered ships and floating wreckage. The Unity Pact was no more. The most powerful armada in galactic history had been reduced to silent debris, spinning endlessly around the cradle of humanity. And the Eternal Guardians returned to their silent patrol. The few who survived the slaughter fled into deep space, broken in mind and spirit. The admirals who had once boasted of their fleet's invincibility now sat in cold chambers, whispering prayers to stars that no longer offered hope. Their reports reached the remaining governments, carried by trembling couriers and shattered transmissions. The truth could no longer be hidden. Humanity was undefeatable. The Galactic Council dissolved. The old empires began collapsing one by one. Some leaders fell into madness. Others ordered the burning of all star charts containing routes even close to human space. Civilizations abandoned entire sectors to avoid proximity. Trade routes shifted. Colonies relocated. Entire species rewrote their histories to erase any ambitions they once had toward the forbidden sector. A new law was declared across every star system: never enter human space. Children were taught the stories from birth. Not as myths, but as absolute truth. The humans were once like us. They built, they fought, they bled. But when threatened, they became something else, something eternal. No one debated anymore whether the humans were extinct or alive. It didn't matter. Their defense network operated perfectly without them. The Eternal Guardians, the Black Sun, the Ghost Fleet, the Oblivion Lance. These were not weapons of war. They were barriers of absolute dominion. Galactic historians began calling it the Silent Empire, yet whispers remained. In the hidden places of the galaxy, among ancient scholars and forbidden texts, there were those who dared study the humans' final days. They spoke of the last protocol, a secret design built into the core of the human defense network. According to fragmented records, the humans had once faced a terrible truth during their final wars, that even if they defeated every enemy, one day entropy itself would swallow their species. Death was inevitable. But rather than accept extinction, they made a decision that no other species had ever dared to consider. They digitized themselves. Their physical bodies died. Their minds did not. Buried deep beneath Earth, beneath layers of quantum encryption and indestructible cores were not simply AI programs, but the consciousness of the last human leaders, scientists, generals, and visionaries. They became the Eternal Council. They still watched, still thought, still ruled their invisible empire. The Eternal Guardians were their tools, but not their minds. The Black Sun, the Ghost Fleet, all were extensions of their will, carried out by the machines they had built. And they waited, not because they were weak, not because they feared war, but because time meant nothing to them now. Their patience was infinite. The galaxy slowly stabilized, not through treaties or alliances, but through pure, unbreakable fear. For thousands of years, no species dared even approach human space. New civilizations rose and fell, all obeying the ancient law. But still, the question haunted them all. What if one day the humans decide to leave their space? What if, after centuries of silence, the Eternal Council awoke and chose expansion? The galaxy knew it would have no defense. In the deepest halls of power across countless star systems, leaders continued their careful peace, never daring to provoke even a whisper of attention from human space. And on Earth, silent, ruined, but alive beneath its surface, the last true humans rested, their digital minds conversing through endless data streams. In the core chamber of the Eternal Council, General Arik Voss, still preserved in pure code, spoke to his counselors. "Our enemies have learned fear," he said. "They will not challenge us again," replied Counselor Alara. "Should we wait longer?" asked another. General Voss paused. He watched streams of data showing the entire galaxy, trade routes, fleets, new empires, all operating in quiet terror, careful not to disturb the slumbering giants. Then he smiled. "For now," he answered. "Let them believe we sleep." The chamber dimmed, the conversation ended, and in the void beyond human space, The galaxy dared not breathe. Because even silence was their message. Even silence was their domination, even silence was their ultimate weapon.